We've talked about how corrupt the UN is before. For example, when they've gone after Japan, saying that Japan is sexist because they won't have a female emperor. Literally something they said. Japan responded saying, you know what, you guys are so crazy that we don't even want you in the country. The invitation that a feminist panel originally had to come to Japan, yeah, that's canceled. You're not welcome here. And the corrupt part, of course, is that they'll say some nonsense like that about Japan, but then turn a complete blind eye to the atrocities that are being committed to women systematically in the Middle East. And not just that, they'll even take some of those countries that are doing these horrific things to women in the Middle East, and they'll place some of their leaders in leadership positions at the UN. So it's a complete joke. And that takes us to this very amusing update where the Department of State here in the US has overtly called out the UN in a new statement posted just yesterday. Last week, the United States refused to participate in the UN's review of the Global Compact on Migration. The U.S. objects to the Global Compact on Migration and UN efforts to facilitate replacement migration to the U.S. and our Western allies. UN agencies systematically facilitated mass migration into America and Europe, even as citizens of these nations called for restrictions on migration. Now the Global Compact's latest report urges nations to expand migration pathways and pursue, quote, regularization, unquote, of migrants. UN agencies working with the NGOs they fund established a migration corridor through Central America and to the U.S. border. As the American people suffered under an unprecedented wave of mass migration, the UN was on the ground pipelining migrants to our southern border. UN officials greeted migrants along the route through the deadly Darien Gap. UN-funded NGOs handed out maps to migrants en route to the U.S. After facilitating mass migration to the U.S., UN agencies condemned the deportation of illegal immigrants. As Europe endured sustained migratory pressure, UN officials staffed all ends of the Mediterranean migration route, from the coast of Libya to the shores of the Aegean to the islands of Greece. Then, UN agencies condemned frontline states who refused to open their borders. While the United Kingdom faced unprecedented illegal boat crossings, UN agencies condemned plans for deportations. UN officials lobbied aviation regulators to prevent the deportation of migrants, an appalling violation of the UK's national sovereignty. The Global Compact on Migration claims to support quote-unquote safe migration. For the citizens of Western nations, mass migration was never safe. It introduced new security threats, imposed financial strains, and undermined the cohesion of our societies. The United States will not legitimize global compacts that enable mass migration into America or Western nations. Under President Trump, the State Department will facilitate remigration, not replacement migration. It's pretty crazy how talking about this stuff will get you labeled a far-right conspiracy theorist on Reddit. It's just crazy that they act so pathetically is what I mean. But of course, it's completely expected of Reddit. Like, I've literally seen subreddits get mad at VTubers for talking about migration-related issues over the last year or so, calling them far-right conspiracy theorists. And it's like, dude, if you really think that, those people that really think that, they are so uneducated on this topic that it's insane. And then they'll say things like, if you don't support unregulated mass migration, you're racist. It's so freaking absurd. The gaslighting's unreal. But it's a very unpopular issue for people that are proponents of this. You know, they've been losing more and more and more. People are sick of this stuff. Here we are. That's all I got to say. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.